So, good evening and welcome to this Auditorium 1899. This is the presentation event, as you know, for the new Palau Blaugrana Stadium, the new arena. Welcome also the viewers of Esport 3 and Barça TV, as well as through streaming on the website of Football Club Barcelona. I would like to start saying that in October 1961, when the old Palau was opened, I was there. I was a 12-year-old kid, and I recall I told my parents and my grandfather, who by the way died being member number 197 of the club, and I said I'm coming to see the new stadium, and they said, do you have a ticket? And I said no, but when it started, there was someone that led me in. Then I went there as a supporter for many years, and in the last 30 years as a professional journalist. So thank you, Mr. Bartomeu, for having thought of me for the presentation of this event. So the Barça space is now beginning to take shape. The facilities of Football Club Barcelona in the Les Corts district in Barcelona, as well as the sports city Joan Gamper in Sant Joan d'Espí, they are all coming to reality. The new Barça space includes a new Camp Nou, a new Campus Barça, a new mini stadium, and the new Palau. On January 30th, the jury for the Barça space chose the proposal by Hock and Tack Architects for the new Palau Blaugrana Stadium. It will have 12,000 seats with an ancillary ground for 2,000 people, plus a nice rink for 800 people. So today we will know the details of this new stadium, this new Palau, which hopefully will become an icon of the city of Barcelona. One of the challenges of the new facilities is to maintain the magic of the Palau, of the current facilities, the stage that had fostered the poly-sports vocation of the club. This is, of course, one of the main assets of Football Club Barcelona. So we have a number of videos, and we will remember with images, with footage, this magic of the Palau and Barça playing in Palau Blaugrana. There's many kinds of magic, but none like the magic at the Palau. The magic of never giving up. The magic of great nights.
De 3 puntos de Epi dentro. 43-59 llançament de Sevilla, i ara per fi.
Jordi, entre 3 defensors.
Veritablement apostoflant. Bàsquet al límit.
The magic of comebacks. The magic of the seemingly impossible. The magic of united, we've got the strength. The magic of new beginnings. Of the finals. And the endings. The magic of turning the club into more club. The magic of history. but above all, the magic of dreams come true.
¡Campeón! ¡Juega
May magic be with us. Good, nice, wonderful video clip. So many familiar faces. But today, not only we are presenting the new Palau Stadium, but also when this event is done, we will open the Espai Barça exhibition. This will be a permanent exhibition at the Paris room of the Palau, open to all the members of the club and supporters. But now I will ask the president of the club, Mr. Josep Maria Bartomeu, here on the stage. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for your attendance. To tell the truth, you can really feel the magic of Palau here tonight. I've seen here so many familiar faces, captains of hockey teams, basketball teams, indoor football teams. So today is also an event for acknowledging all of you. And what we're starting here today is also thanks to you, thanks to the history, and thanks to the present of Palau Blaugrana. Today we want to present to you the winning project of this new Palau, unique new Palau, an innovative new Palau, basic piece in the Espai Barça project for the improvement and development of the facilities in our club. Today we will get to know all of the details with Jordi Moix, commissioner of the project, but we can also visit this Paris room with the permanent exhibition with the details of the new Palau. The new Palau Stadium will be an architectural gem, a magnificent stadium, but also clear proof of the poly-sports vocation of our club. The current Palau, as you know, does not meet all the conditions it should have, but it has provided us with many magic moments and successes. It has a warmth we don't want to give up on, and this is why the new Palau has been designed to still be a hot pot. So the new Palau is not a minimum Palau Stadium to just meet the requirements of EuroLeague. It wants to go up to the maximum so that all of the professional sports sections in the club will have all they need to reach out to excellence and sports success. The new Palau Stadium will also mean a leap forward regarding facilities with the new ice rink. We will see the footage later on, to new indoor football, so futsal courts for the school and the main court. So it proves the DNA of this new Barça space. We're just starting the excellence in sports practice, the excellence for the viewers and the visitors, new services to the members of the club, and a commitment to training as well. And all of these will be seen in parameters of mobility, environmental respect, and sustainability, and energy savings, also in the financial part. So a project for a new Palau arena that meets all the requirements to be an iconic piece that will allow us to reach our goal of being the most important poly-sports club in the world. I've repeated many times that if we've got here so far, and if we can engage into such a project as this one, is because Barça space, Espai Barça, is thanks to the sports success, because of the good financial situation of the club. This is why we can push this forward. This is a historic opportunity, and we have to seize this opportunity. In the last few years, we've been able to devote the time to do all the technical and financial studies to approach an international tender in a rigorous manner and transparent manner to obtain excellent projects for Barça, for the Las Corts district, and for the city of Barcelona. So today we're not just going to present drawings here, but the result, the output of an intense work by many people I want to thank, both in the club and outside of the club, for their dedication, and also the people at the architect firm and the City Council of Barcelona for their involvement into creating the best possible Barça space. This Barça space was approved by the members of the club in a referendum. It was the second referendum in the history of the club, and this Barça space will be a model for transparency and participation. It will also respect the environment and people with mobility problems. This Barça space is thought for all Barça supporters to feel right here, to have a meeting point here all year round. A Barça space as well for our visitors coming to Barcelona with the will of getting to know better our club. And to finish with, you will see there's this motto here saying, "We believe in dreams." This motto does not only refer to today's event, it wants to reflect an attitude that will bring soul into all the activities organized here at Football Club Barcelona, from the foundation, which is the foundation for sport and for kids, from La Masia, training athletes and persons, from the amateur sections and all of the sections in the club, conveying those values that make us different. Believing in our dreams for us is being able of conceiving an idea, sharing this idea, being brave enough to push it forward and to make it real. So thank you very much, and Visca Barça, Visca Catalonia, and let's go ahead with the presentation. Great, thank you very much, Mr. President. Now I would like to call here on the stage an old friend, one of the references in the history of the sports sections in Football Club Barcelona, one of the idols of Palau, one of the persons that made this arena too small. And I'm talking about Juan Antonio San Epifanio, Epi.
Bueno, Epi, parlàvem ara aquí.
Hi, Epi. So we were talking about the magic of the Palau. Does it exist? How would you define the magic of Palau? Well, I was listening to you at first when you said you went for the first time to Palau, and you brought many memories to my head. As you know, I was born in Zaragoza. I was signed in 1974 by the junior categories, and what I wanted most was to see a practice of the team, the professional team, when I got here. And there was the Manolo Flores or Susi Dalier or Norman Carmichael, Charles Thomas. De la Cruz was not yet there. He started the next year. So I went there to see the practice. I was sitting there in this empty Palau, in this empty arena, and I was wondered. I was amazed. But I was so surprised by the arena, by the dome. It was at that time one of the best arenas in Spain, undoubtedly. So at that time, I could already feel the magic of the Palau, and still I didn't know what it was. Then over the years, what was my dream, which was playing here, I achieved that. After 3-4 years, I could play in the first team frequently, and I can tell you, the magic exists. It exists because Palau brings people so close to the players, to the team, that you can really feel them so close. And those games that really look tough or complicated, like the game of the year, the supporters are always with you, and you always give a little more than what you can give, and in the end you win. And not in vain, we've seen that all the sports sections, handball, hockey, basketball and futsal, all the 4 sections, and there was volleyball in the beginning too, they have achieved all the great titles in the main competitions in all these 4 sports. So I believe that the Palau really has that magic, and we just have to keep it. What's the matter? That of course quite a few years have gone by, 42 since I came here, 45 since you first went there, so we grow old You look fine, thank you. But when we grow old, we have to be replaced. In my case, there were other basketball players that replaced me. Not in your case. You're doing fine. So you grow old, but you stay. But still, I believe this is a good time to have a new Palau stadium and keeping this magic, and I'm sure we will achieve that. Is it true that opponent teams, no matter how important, like the Real Madrid, came really afraid to the Palau stadium? Yes, of course. The Palau, when it's full, it's a constant pressure. You know, the noise and the throbbing, the rumble of all the people there. Of course, that gets under your skin. Sometimes it goes against you, but most of the time you are above the opponent. You've seen things of the new Palau, Epi, so do you think this magic can be transferred to this much larger space? What do you think about it? Well, I've seen things about this new Palau, but because it was kind of a spy, you know? They won't let anyone see things, but I went through the back door and I could see some things of this new proposal. And I believe, yes, they're going to achieve that, to have this magic kept in the new Palau and this very close distance between the supporters and the team, although there's going to be 12,000 seats. But still, I believe we are going to have it close, and the strength, and that visiting teams are going to be really freaked out and afraid when they come here. Okay, so many of the athletes and players that have wore the jersey of the club, some of the football references that loved Barça and that wanted to tell what's Palau for them. The importance of living in dreams.
Va ser debutar com a jugador.
My dream come true at the Palau was to make my debut as a player. Spectacular memories, affection, excitement, sport, dream, legend, unforgettable, opportunities, titles, hockey, hot pot, goals, nostalgia, home, history, team, school, unique, devotion, wise, artist.
Mi sueño que se hizo realidad en el Palau fue
My
ganar
dream
todos los
come true
títulos en un
in
año.
Palau was to win all the titles in just 1 year. Wisdom, strength, versatility, triumph, intelligence, intensity, world, fight, precision, talent, future, integration, now, rolling skate, success, fun, passion, finals, hope, handball, generational, work, baskets, energy, design, tribal, ambience, atmosphere, modern, showtime,
El meu somni
surprises.
complet al Palau
My
va ser
dream
trobar
come
una
true
família.
at Palau was to meet my family there. Victorious, functional, different, Ali Hoop, gel, so eyes, figures, character, challenges, smiles, dream, present, samba, fantasy, ambition, imagination, animation.
El meu somni ha sigut
My dream
jugar al
come
millor
true
club del
at
món.
Palau was to play in the best club in the world. Training, unforgettable, soul, fun, intimidation, idol, total, happiness, vibrant, comebacks, holy sports, futuristic, elegant, sleek, Barcelona, family, spectacle, show, desire, velocity, incredible, magic, sound, futsal, basket, career, smashes, smash dance, electric, innovative, magnificent, moments, new, symbol, devotion, design.
No parem mai de somiar.
Let's never stop dreaming. Let's believe in dreams. So, Epi, I don't know if it's a problem or not, but I knew them, all of them, most of them. So, anyway, thank you very much for your sympathy and for being with us here for these moments. So it's time now to know how this Barça space develops and to get to know some details of this new Palau Blaugrana. So the commissioner of Espai Barça, Mr. Jordi Moix, will tell us about the details. So please, Mr. Moix. Well, good evening, everyone. How are you doing? I will try to share a short explanation, not about the facilities, because the architects will tell you about that, but an introduction about why are we here. So, with the permission of the president, I will also share a personal story, because also at your age, 12-year-olds, I came to the Palau, not for a basketball match, but it was the tennis masters in 1972, December here. So I remember I was 12 years old, so I came into the arena and I was amazed. I was flabbergasted because something happened, and it could be the thread for what I want to tell you about today. There was Stan Smith, you know, the one about the shoes, and the semi-finals, Tom Gorman, this victim, so to speak, or not so favorite American player, was winning Stan Smith up to the match point, and in the match point the match was stopped and they went to their chairs for 3 minutes and people didn't know what was going on. The problem was that he had been dragging with this injury for 3 games and he retired so that Stan Smith could play the final the day after and really give the show. And eventually he won in 5 sets. So this match point, when I was thinking this morning about how would I introduce what we're doing here today, brought me to 3 reflections. 1, daring. 2, facilities. And 3, values. So courage, or daring, because this happened in 1972 at the end of Franco's dictatorship, and Carrasco and the team, they dared to build this stadium, which was really avant-garde, and they even brought an event such as these tennis masters unexpectedly. And we had this reflection within the club, and it came again with the referendum. Do we need a new Palau arena? I mean, we've got these facilities and there's a lot of going on in football. So what's going on with the other sports sections? So when they decided to build this Palau, some people said, you're crazy. I mean, they were playing in Les Corts facilities, and having this stadium with 5,000 seats sounded like crazy. So this daring decision consolidated the DNA of the club with both professional and non-professional sports sections. So this leitmotif, the club that knows its history and learns from its successes, is of course a club that is going to go forward with certainty. So thinking about these facilities and these 20 hectares we've got here in Les Corts district, bringing this to value with facilities more proportionate to what we need and what we deserve in Barcelona. We're not going to Sant Jordi, which is 17,000, but we couldn't refurbish the current facilities. So with this courage of this magic minute, we could make this happen. So with daring and courage, but also with in a rational manner. And this is what we came up to and what we are presenting today. The second one is the stadium, the arena as such. The stadium had a legacy. It was the comparison, of course, with this new Palau. Won't we be losing what we've got in the current Palau? Can we reinvent or rethink and keep this magic? Because we've seen the new stadiums and arenas in Europe and the Western world in general, and we've seen that often a modern stadium, a modern arena can lose a touch of personality and warmth for sports events. So the challenge we proposed to the architects in this tender was about that, about trying with our options to keep this spirit, this soul. And I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the 5 teams that didn't win. Of course, in an architecture tender, only one wins, and there was also GMP and GFA, Wilkinson Airway with Balagons and Balin Riera, Pattern and Massif Bosque, Mate and Mess and BCQ, and Mangado, Bar, Sanabria and Aparicio. So I would like to publicly congratulate these teams. These were all tandem teams, most of them, with local expertise combined with international expertise, and same happens with the winning team, TAC and Hawk, we will now present. So what's this new stadium like? Why is it unique? Well, the proposal we've chosen is the one that somehow takes the good things about the current Palau, which is this ring, this bubble of the seats, and it transfers it with the minimum expression, so without placing the seats too far, and with a capacity as close as possible to the warmth we've got today. And also, if it has a symmetry proposal for seats to have up to 10,000 minimum seats. That was what we set in the referendum. This proposal reaches up to 12,000, and of course we chose this project now, and we will work on it as we request the general permit and so on, but also talking to the users, many of whom are here, so that you can also integrate your inputs in the winning team of this architecture tender. And the third aspect is that this larger new Palau will have a pleasant dialogue with the space it is going to live together with. And this is why we wanted to have Palau in a positive aspect, in a positive manner. This is what we were looking for. And then the third version of this Tom Gorman latest moment is that this was a very proof of sportsmanship, because maybe he would have recovered overnight, but still he gave away the final to his stronger opponent. But, you know, with Palau sometimes we're not aware, but this is actually a sports compound with the Palau Stadium. Then the second leg is the second court and the ice rink, which was also daring in 1971 when it was built. And then on top of those two facilities, there would be the football practice pitches for the FCB school. So beyond the football stadium, we are developing a sports compound, first level, top level, for professional sports, but also family oriented, like the ice rink and the practice pitches. And this touch about values also distinguishes us as an institution, and it is included also in this proposal we are presenting here today. And well, last, just want to tell you this proposal is already moving forward. We will now watch video of Hawk and TAC as an introduction, and they will now give you more details of this proposal. And this proposal, we want to integrate it within this Barça space, this espai Barça, for the growth and development of the institution. So thank you for your attendance, and I will be happy to answer any of your questions. So we have this video Mr. Moix was telling us about. In these offices, a dream is being built. With the architect team responsible of Miami Heat's stadium, National Arena audience, also in charge of buildings like Torre Diagonal 6A2.
Arquitectes és un despatx que just ara compleix 20 anys amb la seva format actual. Hem treballat en projectes normalment complexes i de gran envergadura.
HOK is an international design firm. We have offices in 25 different cities. We specialise in various areas from airports, but also in terms of sports and entertainment.
We will soon transform magic into reality.
We're used to delivering these significant landmarks, but to be able to do that in Barcelona, I think it's going to be a very special building with a very special character.
El projecte tindrà un cert efecte icònic, un palau del segle XXI, un palau del segle XXI, que té una configuració molt innovadora.
We wanted to create a building that reflects the performance inside that, so the dynamicness and the sporting quality, but a building that also is integrated in that public realm.
Els socis s'ho faran seu de seguida, serà una estació molt confortable.
The viewing will be absolutely fantastic.
Els regals se sentiran molt intimidats,
So every seat will have a wonderful viewing experience.
El fet que tingui una única grada, efecte de pressió, d'olla,
The way that we've used the latest technology to get the fans as close to the action as we possibly can.
All great works start from a dream.
Una de les obres més importants, més emblemàtiques de la vida de Barcelona del segle XXI.
If the mantra for FC Barcelona is more than a club, we wanted to create more than a arena.
Our dream is about to stop being just a dream. We believe in dreams. So rivals will feel intimidated. I like that line. So thank you, Mr. Moix, and we will now unveil the model of the new Palau, but first we need to talk about the approved compound with ice rink, football courts for the FCB school, practice courts. Green areas, metro stations, public connections, key components. Alignment access. Deployment of elements. Connections to the boulevard. Space for outdoors events at night.
I ara sí.
Great, so the time has come to unveil the new Palau model. So please, Mr. Josep Maria Bartomeu, Mr. Jordi Moix, Joan Rhodes, and Eduardo Gascón. We've seen them in the videos from Hoc and Tac Architects. So all four of you. So are we ready? Go ahead. Great, so this is the new model. Afterwards you will be able to come closer and take pictures. You can now take a seat, thank you. So we are getting to the end. But now we will see some pictures with which we will take a leap ahead in time. So a virtual representation of the new Palau and its central arena, central court. In the middle of the city of Barcelona, the city of creativity and sport, a dream is about to come true. A dream bringing together sport and architecture. A dream that opens its gates during the day and at night. A dream with room for everyone, with room for all the illusions. A dream that will be home of all Barça fans.
Navarro desde su casa. Aquí donde está la Lliga. La Lliga. Final. El Barça acaba de guanyar la Lliga. El Barça ha guanyat la Lliga. Increïble.
Después de tanto tiempo buscando la gloria, después de tanto tiempo buscando el cielo.
De manera extraordinària. El Barça guanya la Lliga CB. Campió.
Donarem pas a la roda de premsa prevista amb la participació del senyor Jordi Moix, el senyor William Manarelli, director de l'àrea patrimonial del club, el senyor John Rhodes,
Heritage part of the club, Mr. Joan Rhodes, architect and senior manager at Hocs, and Mr. Eduardo Gascón, director of TAC Architects. So I will open fire if you're fine with that. So far everything's working perfectly, so thank you for that. We will start with Mr. Jordi Moix, so we know what's the new Palau going to be like. So what will be the new pathways for the rest of the Barça space? Well, as I said before, we're not setting the first stone yet. It will be in a couple of years' time. We still need to get the specifics of the project that starts today, and with everyone's inputs will be perfected, but there's already some visibility and some specificity. But at the same time, we need to request the urban planning permits. We are working with the city council, and today we also have here the mayor of Sant Joan d'Espí for the new mini study football stadium, which is also in the permit request process now. So these are the next steps forward. But what I would like to underline here is that as a club, we are taking this path and in the right way, with the cost, with the budget, and with the term. If something is delayed or not, that is not essential. The facilities are working, but we don't want to rush and make mistakes. And there's a part that is not dependent on the club, but the administration, and we are working together with them. We've been working with them for months, with the previous administration and the current one, and also with the district managers. So this is the alliances we need to set up in order to reach a good ending, and we're doing it right. And having this project, having these specifics will help us make this proposal true, which is the proposal from the club to the city. So the journalists are a little concerned about the capacity. We thought 10,000 was not too much, 12,000 is a little better, but you say we shouldn't worry about this. Why? No, because the mandate we had was to have at least 10,000 seats, as the referendum said, for the sports facilities. So now it will be around 12,000 seats. But then the refinement will bring us to that figure. We didn't want to have a 15,000 or 18,000 seat Palau. So this was a middle point, and of course we've got that with this proposal, and also in a very versatile way. Good, Mr. Manarelli, let's talk about money. How much is going to the new Palau Blaugrana going to be, and how are you going to deal with the budget?
Blaugrana is 90 million euros. This is a number that we presented during the referendum phase, and this was in April of 2014. Throughout this whole process, when we started this project several years ago, during the feasibility studies up and through the referendum, and then finally in this competition phase, which we're coming to a conclusion today with the Palau, we've been doing cost monitoring in the form of quantity surveying throughout this whole process to ensure that the project gets developed, and all the design criteria that we've been developing are consistently communicated to the architects and engineers, so the projects that we develop are according to the budget. Obviously, a project of this scale and complexity requires cost monitoring throughout the process. We're going to be no different on this project. We're going to have to continue to monitor the project and work with the architects and engineers to ensure that we fulfill the mandate from the referendum.
Senyor Eduardo Gascón, parlàvem...
So, Mr. Gascón, we were talking about intimidating the rivals. That's a concern for us because they talk about this pressure effect in Palau, and the managing team wanted to convey this with this new Palau, which is more complex because it's much bigger. How can we achieve that?
La màgia del Palau ha sortit avui.
Well, this pressure effect came up repeatedly today, recalling the words of Epi. Well, in the tender, they really talked about this, the significance of this pressure effect, not losing the current spirit of Palau. And there's still things defining this. One is the close distance of the public, and the other one is the acoustic setting. So we will have a single ring around the court so that all of the viewers, all of the spectators are closer to the court, and at the same time we reduce dramatically the build volume of the Palau. So it will not just be a pressure effect, but a cave effect, because with the cover, with the roof, it contributes, and acoustically, and with the screens we've seen in the video, we will reproduce this unforgettable atmosphere inside of the Palau. Okay, and now to conclude this first round, Mr. John Rhodes. So, Mr. Rhodes, we were surprised by this asymmetric shape. I mean, we've seen the American Airlines in Miami, but this is a completely different arena. How do you think about this idea?
Alluded to, the brief was to develop an arena much bigger than the existing Palau. So, but we wanted to maintain that intense atmosphere of playing there. So, that and the fact that we wanted to create this home advantage, we really looked at the way that we could actually take an existing bowl and then expand one of the ends to create a home end, which we call the cop. So there was this intense wall of people, which will a wave of sound going down the arena. And I think, you know, what is interesting is that European basketball is very different in experience to that of NBA. So we wanted to create a bowl, an arena, which really does reflect that, you know, that unique and fan experience that you have within European basketball. And I think we've done that really with the bowl design. And, you know, we've used the latest technology, the parametric design technology, to get the people as close as possible to the action. But also this idea of trying to keep the energy in the bowl. And I think that's the key to this, is that we can create a bowl that always feels full, but has this unique energy.
Perfecte. Roda de premsa, el Josep Maria ens ajudarà, crec que
So now Josep Maria will help us with the journalist. If you can ask your questions to the speakers. A question for Mr. Moix. Now that we know the project, how are you going to work with the animation groups and with handicapped people for this new Palau Blaugrana? Will it be a sustainable ball? Yes, part of the briefing we gave with the tender, one of the requirements was to take that into account. But these are two of the requirements, two examples, the ones you said. From now on, with this first project, there will be walk-in meetings, walk-in sessions with different types of users to integrate their perspectives and their insights into the project. So with a more active participation, it is as if the users inhabiting or using the Palau ballpark can also integrate their inputs. It's like having a bespoke apartment for you, same thing. This would be a bespoke arena for the fans, for the Barça fans. So we had this first presentation with the council of the Palau because we wanted to convey it and present it to the team, and we will keep on working in this direction. We won't be able to do 100% of everything, but we will integrate all of the insights and we will improve all the details of the project. Ernest Baixà, Catalunya Radio. So this seating capacity, 12,000 seats, will mean that all the fans will be able to sit there, because in Poland, Final Fours basically, because in Poland they have this 18,000 seats. Well, if the requirement of Final Fours is 18,000 or 20,000, we won't have that capacity. We couldn't think about specific events for that because we have also Palau Sant Jordi, which has a requirement for all the kinds of events. This was a ballpark for the club, and if beyond that we can have other kinds of events, we will try to talk EuroLeague into bringing here Final Four. Why not? Adrià Soldevila Almond, you placed some kind of a clause in the referendum by which the works in Espai Barça would start with a debt under 200,000 euros. Now the debt is over 300,000. I don't know if this is foreseen, if by next year or 2018 the debt will go below 200 so that you can start the construction works. Yes, you were right. It was not actually a clause, but one of the requirements in the referendum was that all the investment for the Espai Barça would not jeopardize the competitiveness of the club from a financial and sports perspective. So most of the investment is, of course, when the construction works start. Everything else is preparatory investments for requesting permits and projects, but it's not the main part. So when we go into this financial risk phase, will be when we start the main construction works for the Palau ballpark and for all ancillary buildings. And of course the mandate is still valid, and we set this schedule for us, which was of course an orientation purposes only, because we try to do our homework in the approximate schedules we can set for us, but then there's things which are not dependent on the club. So having all of this process needs also the go-ahead by the city council and by the regional government, because you are transforming 20 hectares, and these are complex projects and there's parts that are dependent on the administration. So we are still within the terms of this schedule, but we're not obsessed, however, about having an exact compliance or not. We have to try and do it right at a good financial level, and when we set ourselves to it, of course, the debt of the club should be appropriate to be able to face this investment. Of course, depending on how we finance it, but still we will try not to jeopardize the financial stability of the club. Mr. Moix here to your right. Good evening. A couple of questions. Are you thinking about placing naming rights to Palau Blaugrana as well? And secondly, you were talking about Tenis El Forn land with for the mini stadium. Are they linked? So if you don't build the new mini stadium, then the new Palau won't be built? Well, they are linked, but not from an administrative perspective, because they are in different city councils. I mean, in San Juan de Espí, we are now doing the master plan and requesting the permits, and it is administrative. From an administrative perspective, it is independent from what we're doing here. But of course, we want to start building the new Palau until we start building the mini stadium. So that's the first thing we need to do. And as for the naming rights, we explained that in the referendum, the stadium rights were linked to the facilities and the ballpark, and we do not discard a different name for the actual arena, for the ballpark, or a set of names. And we are now starting a market prospection. We are starting contacts with specialized consulting firms in this market that have closed this kind of operations, and we will try and look for the best possible proposal. This, of course, goes together with the administrative work with the city council for finalizing the permits and everything, so we will try to get the best possible contract. Mr. Moix, to your right, I would like to ask if usually it is difficult to fill the 7,000 seats in the current Palau. What will it be like with 10,000, 11,000, 12,000 seat Palau? Well, that was one of the reflections we shared with the architects. I recall that the basketball team in the current Palau had played here, where we are sitting now, 9 meters over the former Picadero. From that, we built what we've got now. So with the buildings, if you use imagination, you can really take the opportunity. So it is true that the current Palau is in theory 7,500. There was a second row of stands, but visibility is not good. So it's it's actually 6,000, not 7,000 seats with visibility, that is. So there's a willingness, there's a support to professional sports sections. I mean, we've got a metropolitan area of 4 million inhabitants, so there's this kind of support. There's examples of cities with no sports traditions, like Valencia or Bilbao, and they're filling with 8,000 or 9,000 people ballparks. So there's a support, and there's tradition now in Catalonia to have enough members and paying members to fill the arena with 10,000, and in main games up to 12,000. Just a nuance on the question, the setup of the stands we have foreseen also allows for a smaller configuration. It could be left with 8,000 seats. So the size of the first rink, which is 8,000 seats, is this upper stand that goes to the east, that goes up to 12,000. So with a simple curtain system, we can segregate or separate the stand and having an 8,000 seat ballpark.
I mean, these buildings are very much about flexibility. So the ability, can we create an arena machine? So we can go down from 12,000 down to, 5,000, 7,000 very quickly. And we're doing that, as Edward alluded to, is that we're using, both curtaining but also retractable seating. So we've really thought this through in terms of different configurations. So what we wanted to create was a very intimate experience at, every different sporting configuration, be it, handball or be it roller hockey. So the bowl can expand and contract in response to that. And the key to that is to bring that atmosphere to, maintain that intensity with curtaining and such like.
Sergio Heredia, La Vanguardia. Mr. Moix, a couple of questions for you related to the possibility of giving us more details on some of the elements first. Do we have a specific date for the start and ending of the construction works? And secondly, you've said that urban planning permits are being requested, so I would like to know about the status of those proceedings. I was expecting that question because you always like the dates. Well, the date we are working with is the one we proposed for the referendum. This would be the second half of 2017. But achieving these goals is dependent on the permits that have been requested, which are complex, not just because of the Palau as such, but for all the negotiation of the whole compound. I cannot be any more specific here because we are in the negotiating phase, but it's not just two sides negotiating over the table, but we are working also together with the municipality technical teams and the architects and engineers. The dialogue is being fluent. Still, there was an election just last year, 10 months ago, with a change of government, and when the government changes, of course, the new responsible people, the new managers need some landing time. We have to tell them about the work that had been done, and this is the phase we are in. It is an advanced phase. There has been the dialogue, and these specificities of the facilities also help to make progress in that direction. And we are working with the current schedule, but we will report to you as we move forward with the proceedings and the permits and everything. And again, rushing is not good, because this compound will be for 50, 60, 70 years. So rushing into making mistakes and losing essential parts for the club and for the city would not be good at all. And this is the dynamics we will be working with. We will do it, and we will do it right. Marc Mundet and Raku, I would like to ask a couple of questions. First, to what extent the existence of Palau Sant Jordi in the city of Barcelona has had an influence in determining the final capacity of this new Palau? Because, as you said, the actual capacity is for around 10,000. It could reach 12,000. So having a superdome like Palau Sant Jordi in the city of Barcelona has had an influence, an impact in limiting the capacity to a maximum of 12,000 in Palau Blaugrana. And then another question, to what extent Barça will be the main user of the facilities, because in America, for instance, ballparks, they are used for sports some days a year, but then they use them for many other activities and events like concerts and many other kinds of events to make the facilities of New Palau Blaugrana profitable. Well, as for the first question, the existence of Palau Sant Jordi has been a factor in the decision. Well, it has not been instrumental, not decisive, but we took it into consideration. We took into account that Palau Sant Jordi existed and to what kind of events it was being used and what we wanted. Also, remember that after the Olympics, we were playing the basketball section was playing for 2 years there. It didn't work out because the ballpark is not thought for indoor sports the way we understand them. It has a different vocation, and also the location for our members is a little far away from the center of the city, so this is why we changed and came back to Palau Blaugrana, came back home. As for the size, we took that into account, but also we took into account the size of the land and the size of what we wanted to build here. So the combination of both factors, we wanted to have a proposal for our activities mainly, and then as a complement, and also answering your second question, we can also host other kinds of events which are not properly met or satisfied currently, because the city keeps on growing. We have 14-15 million visitors in the city now, so the type of events and proposals we can approach can be varied, but this will always be a complement to the sports activities, including the ice rink, the second court with less capacity, and the practice courts for schools, which will also have a very social value. 2 last questions, please. Yes, here, Santi Valle for Mr. Moix again. As of today, how much money has been spent in this new espai Barça, this new Barça space?
Date, we've spent approximately 4 million euros developing the project over the last 3 years.
Okay, last question. Gemma Soler for Mr. Rhodes.
What does it mean for an architecture firm like yours to build this venue for a club like FC Barcelona?
Well, FC Barcelona is the club in the world to be working for.
No hace falta decir nada más.
We're immensely proud. I mean, to build, work with FC Barcelona, but also to be looking at a venue such as this in Barcelona itself is just a fantastic, exciting opportunity. We're delighted.
Molt bé, moltes gràcies.
Okay, thank you so much for this presentation event. Last, I would like to wish luck to the basketball team. They go tomorrow at 7 a.m. to Russia, play against Kimki. So Xavier, Carlos, Juan Carlos, good luck. We'll support you. And now we'll go with the press to the opening of the Barça space in the Paris room. Thank you very much, all of you, for your attendance.